Hello. Retirement can be defined as a process that separates an individual from a job role, and what happens to that individual thereafter is a function of well-managed pension scheme. Let's talk about this tonight on Weekend File. Good evening and welcome to the program. Prior to the enactment of Pension Reform Act of 2004, the public service operated an unfunded scheme, and the payment of retirement benefits depended on annual budget, and that became one of the vulnerable items in budget implementation for many years. Employees in the private sector were not even covered or funded by any pension scheme put in place by their employers, and even when funded, the management was full of malpractices. The 2004 Pension Act introduced contributory pension scheme for employees in the public and private sectors to correct the failures of the defined benefit scheme. But in July 2014, the 2004 Pension Reform Act was amended with significant changes such as the increase of contributions, exemption of the military from contributory system, and the introduction of investment outlets. In this connection, every contributor under the new scheme is expected to open retirement savings account with a pension fund administrator where contributions are paid. And upon retirement, an initial lump sum or gratuity, as it's often called, is paid, and the balance is structured in a programmed withdrawal method in which the employee collects retirement benefits in periodic sums spread throughout the length of an estimated lifespan. But in spite of this arrangement, non-payment of monthly pension and gratuity persisted, prompting the establishment of Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate (PTAD) to harmonize the old and the new systems. The conundrum here is that pensioners are still grappling with what they call ambiguity or inexactness of the entire process, leading to complaints and more complaints. We will dissect all of this tonight on Weekend 5 platform. So thank you for finding time to join us on the program, which begins after the news. Of course, the news comes first. My name is Kirian Umayo, and it's good to see you again on this platform. Now, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, says the commission will undertake a thorough cleanup of the existing voter register before the 2019 general elections. He said this at the regular quarterly consultative meeting with security agencies under the auspices of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. Timothy Yusuf reports.
This is the first regular quarterly consultative meeting in 2018, coming exactly 350 days to the commencement of the 2019 general elections, 133 days to the Ekiti State governorship election holding on the 14th of July 2018, and 203 days to the Osun State governorship elections holding on the 22nd of September 2018. Far as these elections may sound, the umpire is not relenting in ensuring that all obstacles to free, fair and credible elections are cleared.
I wish to reassure the electorate that INEC and the security agencies will continue to work in line with the rules of engagement that guarantee full rights of citizens during electioneering campaigns and actual voting on election day in a professional, non-partisan manner.
On the ongoing continuous voter registration, INEC pledges to address challenges faced by citizens in some centers to ensure that no eligible registrant will be left out.
For those who register in 2018, their PVCs will be available for collection before the 2019 general election.
The security agencies on their own part have promised to ensure compliance in line with best practices. INEC has so far removed from the voter register the names of 299 aliens who registered on the false pretense that they were Nigerians. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Health says it will continue to encourage scientific innovations aimed at making healthcare accessible to Nigerians. Minister of State for Health, Dr. Osagie Ehanire, said this in a message to the annual scientific conference of the Federal Medical Center, KEFI. Here again is Timothy Yusuf.
With the theme Access to Health Care, Issues, Challenges and the Way Forward, the Minister of State Health believes that the nation's health care is not where it used to be, as the present administration is poised to improve on critical areas like the National Health Insurance Scheme, the electronic health records, sustainable essential drug supply, manpower management, cancer management at facility level, and the role of research in combating emerging and re-emerging infections.
Among our primary focus in the Federal Ministry of Health is the provisions of primary health care, comprehensive primary health care, and the program to make a primary health care facility available at ward level, at least one in every geopolitical ward, is in progress.
Other speakers explained that a perfect healthcare delivery in line with international best practices is possible.
And the role of research further establish comprehensive posture of this conference, but if not tailored towards making healthcare accessible to patients, it becomes a white elephant project.
Medical practitioners and research institutions were among participants at the conference. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
The federal government says it has designed 2 models for sustainable empowerment for the internally displaced persons in the country. The Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Sadia Omar Farouk, said this while presenting relief materials for 2 IDP camps, Daudu and Abagana in Benue State. Achigili Magaji reports that the delegation also paid a condolence visit to Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State.
The models are integrated approach involving all the relevant agencies of government, which are targeted at agricultural processing, water and sanitation on one part, and the enrollment of out-of-school children in the various IDP camps. The Federal Commissioner, Mrs. Sadia Umar Farouk, represented by Charles Nwanelo, who presented some relief materials to the displaced persons at Daudu and Abagana camps, noted that the visit is part of the program.
We collaborate with the Federal Ministry of Education, we collaborate with the Ministry of Health, and they provide the services, various services, and also the international organization.
The Executive Secretary, State Emergency Management Agency, Emmanuel Shaw, and some inmates expressed gratitude to the federal government for its show of concern in their trying times. The delegation had on arrival visited Governor Samuel Otom, who charged the commission to design quick response mechanism to humanitarian crisis.
My concern now is how to get these people back to their homes, because no matter what, there's nothing like home.
Mr. Nwanelo, who represented the federal commissioner, condoled the government and people of Benue State over the January 1st massacre, saying that the commission is already empowering the IDP to go back home. In Makudi, Achigili Magaji, NT News.
9 suspected kidnappers, cattle rustlers and armed robbers have been paraded by the Niger State Police Command. The arrests of the suspects from different parts of the state is part of the command's massive onslaught on criminals. Rose Gia tells us more.
The 9 suspects paraded by the Niger State Police Command were allegedly engaged in kidnapping and cattle rustling, with 2 other suspects who masterminded the kidnapping and collection of 10 million naira ransom, but now at large. In another operation carried out by the operatives, 2 suspected kidnappers responsible for the kidnap and collection of ransom from one Alhaji Duna to the tune of 4 million naira were also paraded. Also paraded were 4 suspected cattle rustlers arrested for series of cattle rustling in Mashegu and Paikuro local government areas of the state. Some of the suspects who confessed to the crime alleged greed and influence as factors responsible for their engagement in criminal activities.
It is not long that I got married, and it was greed that pushed me into this remorseful act. It was my friend that lured me into kidnapping. He held a meeting in my house with other gang members to kidnap someone, and I was paid 70,000 naira. I was in the hospital attending to my sick child when a younger brother to one of my friends called me to engage in cattle rustling. I was not paid a dime.
Police Public Relations Officer, Niger State Command, ASP Mohammed Naina Abubakar says they will all be charged to court. Rules, Gia, NT News.
And still staying in Mina, Niger State government is to establish fire service stations in all major markets across the state. Governor Abubakar Sani Bello disclosed this during a visit to the market where he commiserated with the people of Bida and ascertained the level of damage at the Esu Musa market that was razed by fire. Jones Ajayi reports that the Esunupe Alhaji Yaya Abubakar had to cut short his stay at the Northern Security Summit in Kaduna due to the disaster.
State Deputy Governor Ahmed Mohamed Ketso, who represented the state governor, led the delegation to Bida to sympathize with the Etsunupe, the people of Bida, and the victims of the fire incident at the Etsumusa market. He described the disaster as a predestined phenomenon, saying that government will not neglect the affected traders as it will evolve means to compensate them. The deputy governor said government will collaborate with the Bida local government, the State Emergency Management Agency, and the Bida Emirate Council to ascertain the level of damage caused by the fire. Ahmed Mohamed Ketso pointed out that an investigative committee will be constituted to identify the cause of the fire.
Government don't have that financial strength to give them everything that they have lost. We can only intervene. And we pray that this type of ugly incident will never happen again.
Etsunupe Alhaji Yaya Abubakar, who expressed shock over the inferno, sympathized with the victims and prayed against a reoccurrence. Etsu Yaya Abubakar thanked the Niger State government and all those who showed concern over the fire disaster. The Etsumusa market, Bida, was gutted by fire on Thursday night. Jones Ajayi, NTA News.
In its bid to provide an enabling environment for manufacturers in the oil and gas industry, the Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board has commenced construction work at the Nigerian Oil and Gas Park, sited in Udupani local government area of Cross River State. Umar Abbasi Edet reports that the 25 hectares park project would be operated using the site and services model to enhance cost effectiveness.
Groundbreaking signaled the commencement of work at the Nigerian Oil and Gas Park, which on completion is expected to generate over 2,000 job opportunities. The flagship project seeks to develop capacity of local supply chain for effective and efficient service delivery without compromising standards.
Will be unimaginable. Of course, we already have enough people.
This is a major investment that is here from the Nigerian government.
Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, Mr. Simbi Wabuti, said the park would further create a regional low-cost manufacturing hubs that will produce equipment, components, and spare parts for the Nigerian oil and gas industry. Other stakeholders, including the traditional rulers within the host community, also pledged support for the success of the project.
The impact is tremendous in terms of employment, in terms of retaining the much needed foreign exchange for the country, and also putting Nigeria on the map of, to a large extent, self-sufficiency.
She's going to, demonstrate that at least government remembers us and, they're trying to make us part of the success story of the oil and gas industry.
And this one is coming with much content, which other people will benefit from.
One of the site contractors, Mr. Mike Asukwo, promised to ensure the completion of the park within the timeline and according to specification. The Nigerian Oil and Gas Park would comprise various warehouses, training estates, manufacturing shop floors, and factories, amongst others. From Odukwane local government area in Cross River State, Umar Basidate, NTA News.
About 20 billion naira will be needed for the completion of Kano Maiduguri dualization project. This was disclosed by the Northeast Zonal Director of the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, Mohammed Rufai, during an inspection tour to Section 4 of the project, covering Potiskum and Damaturu. Mohammed Musa Skera reports.
The Kano Maiduguri dualization road project, which was awarded since 2006, has suffered neglect by the previous administration due to lack of funding However, with the release of over 28 billion naira by President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, the project is now progressing towards completion at appreciable level. The Section 4 parts of Kano Maiduguri dualization, covering 106.30 kilometers, Potoskum to Damaturu, is currently at 62.5% completion stage with the 4 billion naira Cook Intervention Fund. The Federal Controller, Federal Ministry of Works, Engineer Olusegun Akimade, expressed satisfaction over the quality and the pace of work at the site.
We subject all this material to test, and when those material pass the test, you can expect wonderful performance of the structural layers of the road pavement.
The contractor Section 4 parts of the project, Mr. Tank, and one indigenous site engineer, Musa Rima, both thanked the Federal Controller and his entourage for the visit, saying if fund is made available, the project will be completed in 2 years' time. As a trans-Saharan route, its contribution towards trade and industry in Africa cannot be overemphasized. The Zonal Director, National Housing Program Northeast, Waziri Micah Michelia, and his team also inspected the ongoing construction of 80 federal housing units in Damaturu to ensure its early completion and given to the target beneficiaries. In Damaturu, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTN News.
And now to politics, the All Progressives Congress APC says neither state nor zonal executives can expel anyone from the party, saying only party convention can do so. The National Publicity Secretary, Malam Bolaji Ablahi, in a statement says the working committee of APC in Kogi State, led by the chairman, Alhaji Hadi Ametu, remains the only recognized executive committee of the party in this state. The party added that disciplinary action being contemplated must be referred to the party's National Working Committee. The statement enjoins all party members at all levels to digest or desist from taking unilateral actions that are likely to jeopardize the ongoing peace process in the state. Now, the difference in culture, tradition, and lifestyle were formally collapsed for a greater promise of national unity as the loving hearts of Idris, son of Oyo State Governor Abiola Ajimobi, and Fatima, daughter of Governor Abdullahi Ganduje of Kano State, were solemnized in a holy matrimony. President Muhammadu Buhari and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu took charge of the unique wedding in Kano City, executed by the Emir of Kano, Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo was there for NTA News.
A mammoth crowd of people from all walks of life converged on Malam Aminu Kano International Airport to give a befitting welcome to President Muhammadu Buhari on his second visit to the center of commerce since coming to power. His mission this time to partake in strengthening national unity and cohesion that are needed at this point of the nation's history. Kano Central Mosque was therefore filled to capacity with the nation's political heavyweights, captains of industry, and other well-wishers as President Muhammadu Buhari, representing the Abiola Ajimobi family, sought for Idris the hand of Fatima Abdullahi Ganduje in marriage from Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who represented the family of the bride. 50,000 naira was paid as dowry as Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II formally sealed the marriage contract in line with the dictates of the Holy Quran and Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad. The Emir led the Ummah in prayers to Allah to grant the couple sustainable peace, unity, stability, and a fruitful married life. Prayers were also offered for the nation and its leaders.
A new Nigeria is being put in place under President Muhammadu Buhari. I think weddings high profile like this one, inter-ethnic, inter-regional, as we said, they're important for nation building. And I think that it is significant, that President Muhammadu Buhari acted as a representative of Ajimobi's son, Idris Ajimobi, and Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, gave out Ganduja's daughter. I think this is important for the country. Certainly this is something that can contribute to strengthening of the unity and well-being of the country.
I pray that their marriage will be very blissful and they will invite God into their home. Once they are prayerful, once they have God in their home, I think all other things will be resolved.
And away from the venue of the wedding ceremony, the people of Kano turn out massively along the major streets in demonstration of solidarity, love, affection, and goodwill to the Nigerian leader as the presidential motorcade passed by.
You know, the president and Kano is just some miracle playing out. The president says he considers Kano as his own political laboratory, that he learned politics from Kano. But the affinity between the masses of Kano and the President Muhammadu Buhari is such that it cannot be broken. And they're just looking forward to any opportunity to show this love, an outpouring of love to the president, as we just saw this afternoon. It's an interesting political, phenomenon, and I think that it should interest political scientists.
President Muhammadu Buhari has since returned to Abuja. Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Thank you, Adamu, for that report. And also thank you for staying with us on the show up to this moment. Retirement with pension is considered a right of the worker in many societies such as ours. But implementation of pension scheme has remained a hard nut to crack in this part of the world. Do stay with us for more on this matter in the next segment of the program. This is Weekend File. I'll be right back in just a moment.
Airtel Nigeria embarked on a massive mission to change the lives of ordinary Nigerians with a groundbreaking project called Touching Lives.
The day I got to their house, she was lying down.
She was virtually bedridden.
It was shocking.
It was a big explosion.
What about my children? Where are my children?
It's after some weeks later that I hear that they are no more in me.
They began to cut off our limbs. They went and brought fuel and poured on me and set me on fire.
Airtel wants to set you guys up with a business.
Wow.
Airtel is going to give you 1 million naira. Thank you, Airtel. It's okay, it's okay.
Airtel has just given us new hope.
I'll kiss Airtel from head to toe.
Airtel is the best.
Thank you, Airtel, for touching Anna's life.
A beautiful life and a great future is possible. Stand with Standards Organization of Nigeria. Avoid substandard products, electrical appliances with damaging effects, tires without DOT number, stuffed and rusty edges. They can cause accidents. 12.5 kg LPG cylinders used as camp gas is a disaster waiting to happen. Substandard cables can cause inferno. Other substandard products to avoid include batteries, electrical bulbs, iron rods, pressing iron, brake pads. They will only endanger our today and future. Join hands with SON in ridding our country of substandard products. Don't buy or sell substandard products. See something? Say something. Call these numbers. Standards Organization of Nigeria. Improving life through standards.
The Universal Basic Education Commission UBEC announced the 20th quarterly meeting of UBEC management with states and FCT Universal Basic Education boards. The meeting is scheduled to hold as follows. Arrival Monday, March 5th, 2018. Meeting days Tuesday, 6th March to Wednesday, 7th March 2018. Venue Taal Conference Hotel, Jos Road, Bokan City, Lafia, Nasarawa State. Time 9 a.m. prompt daily. Departure Thursday, March 8th, 2018. The meeting will be declared open by the Honorable Minister of Education, Malam Adamu Adamu. Education for all is the responsibility of all. Announcer, Dr. Hamid Boboi, Executive Secretary, UBEC.
We want to buy Indomie noodles. So fast, please.
Yo.
This is not my Indomie. Please, sir, if it's not Indomie, don't call it Indomie.
Sir, the taste is the difference. The difference is in the taste. That's why my brothers, my mommy, my daddy, and I all enjoy our delicious, so very delicious Indomie noodles. The difference is the taste.
Our Anchor Borers program has created an agricultural revolution. In September 2015, we imported 644,000 tons of rice, costing more than $5 million per day. By September 2017, rice imports dropped by 95% to 22,000 tons. Our maize crop has exceeded 10 million tons this year, and through our rice and maize program, we now have 12.2 million farmers. We are now the world's second largest producer of sorghum after the United States, third in millet after India, and we lead the world's production of yam and cassava. We've created numerous plantations solely for the export market, and our plan is to increase the agricultural sector from 25 to 49% of our GDP, thereby reducing poverty and increasing food security.
Welcome back. The joy of every civil servant is to be paid his or her pension after meritorious service. Sometimes it's another story entirely, because while some are lucky, others experience difficulty receiving their entitlements. In this report, Musa Abubakar gives us a situation report on pension matters vis-à-vis the plight of the beneficiaries in Nigeria.
One fundamental fact about civil and public service is that one is eligible for pension benefit upon disengagement from active service. Like many pensioners in the country, Christian Ajuna, a father of 3 and a former staff of Ministry of Mines, Power and Steel, was disengaged during the rationalization exercise in 2006. He had to wait for years to access his compensatory pension.
We were not paid our disengagement benefit entitlement until 2009.
More than 6,000 pensioners are receiving 4,000 naira a month.
Many of our pensioners waiting for these areas have died.
Like Nigerian ways is not different. We've waited 14 years now, and yet we have not been paid.
Over the years, pensioners had to face problems such as short payment of pension and gratuity, removal of name on pension payment voucher, as well as non-payment of harmonized pension arrears, amongst other challenges attributed to misappropriation of funds, maladministration, and corruption. The Pension Reform Act of 2014 paved way for the contributory pension scheme, which enables civil servant to save money in his or her retirement savings account managed by pension managing firms under National Pension Commission, PENCOM.
Those under the contributory pension scheme are suffering. So up till now, people who have retired throughout 2017 are yet to be paid. Up till now, as I'm talking, nobody from our section, our sector, have benefited from any salary review.
The Defined Benefit Scheme, managed by Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, PITAD, has over 200,000 pensioners on its payroll with over 7 billion naira pension payment.
We in PITAD were still clearing the backlog of inherited arrears for the last pension increase that we had. That's a 33% arrears.
Problems of timely access to gratuity and pension, payment of outstanding pension arrears, health insurance coverage for pensioners, amongst other challenges, linger. In Abuja, Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Thank you indeed, Musa. The federal government has been challenged to keep faith with its obligations to pensioners with a view to alleviating their sufferings. Abolade Salami, in this report, takes a look at the challenges confronting federal pensioners in Lagos State.
The Joint Pension Scheme has undergone various reforms as part of efforts to ensure the comfort of the beneficiaries. This was as a result of some challenges that have been identified with past efforts. Some of these include delay in payment of entitlements, which saw many intended beneficiaries dying before collecting. Also is the issue of fraudulent practices carried out by the officials of the pension scheme. This has led to the loss of billions of naira without any trace. In the present-day situation, some pensioners spoke on their experiences.
When I went down to Abuja, to Secretariat, they are telling me, go, your money will come, Baba, nothing. I enter vehicle, go. If not because of my children giving me money to eat, I would not die.
It's over 20 years that I retired from service. I have not been paid my pension. But in the last 2 years, I have been sick, and I have no money to take care of myself. The only child I have has lost her husband. I am suffering. and I want my money paid.
They, however, made some recommendations towards resolving the present-day challenges. They appealed to concerned authorities to, as a matter of urgency, come to their aid with a view to reducing the pains senior citizens undergo after retirement in the country. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Pensioners in Sokoto State have appealed to state and federal governments to take proactive measures to ensure immediate payment of pensions. Muhammad Nasir tells us more.
The hope of every civil servant to immediately start enjoying his pension after retirement from service. However, many civil servants, especially who worked with the federal government, find it difficult to get their retirement benefit in good time. A federal government pensioner who spoke off camera said he spent 14 months after retirement and he is yet to get his benefit. Another retiree from the federal government, Ibrahim Umar, who retired from service October 2017, called on government to look into the fate of pensioners in the country to ease their difficulties.
One has served for the past for 35 years, or he has disengaged at the age of 60 years. So, but there's nothing from the day that he has retired. He has nothing to do. Even if he has something, he was used to getting his salary monthly, but now nothing. So I think it's better if the government try to see that people will be getting their benefit immediately that they have retired.
Some pensioners who work to Sokoto state government say they were last received gratuity May 2016.
A civil servant who retired from service for months but are yet to be enrolled in the pension payment schedules. But we wrote to the state government towards addressing the problems.
However, those who are already enrolled in the pension payment schedule are currently receiving their monthly pension as at when due.
Since from the time I retired from service, I have never experienced any difficulty in accessing my pension.
Several attempts to get official comment from the state government official proved abortive. However, source from the Ministry for Local Government, Sokoto State, says the present administration in the state has spent more than 2 billion naira in payment of retirement benefit to retired civil servants in local governments and primary schools. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
Well, Mohammed, it's unfortunate that you couldn't have access to government officials for further explanations. Now, let's go to the southeast of Nigeria. Pension management has apparently improved, particularly for the federal pensioners. But those in the state say their fortunes are yet to be changed. Beauty Hobamim has the situation report in the southeast.
The years past, it used to be tales of woes by pensioners as they complain of non-remittance of their pension and, in extreme case, death arising from difficulties in accessing their pension. Today, there is a change in the narrative as a result of the funds being managed through a tripartite arrangement. Dr. John Aga and Mr. Boni Amalu, both retirees from NTA, say but for the non-payment of their 33.3% periodic salary increase and the half payment of the 2014-2017 monetization, they are happy.
The monthly routine withdrawal is regular. However, we feel that we are being shortchanged by our pension administrators.
The story is sadness and joy. Joy in the sense that they computed our retirement benefits without recognizing monetized NTA, and that will imply underpayment.
But the situation is not the same for some state pensioners. From Owerri comes a report that pensioners are appealing to the state government to clear their pension and gratuity arrears so they can enjoy life after retirement. Their counterpart in Anambra State say they are being paid as and when due. Those under the Abia state government have decried the non-payment of pensions in the state for over 8 months. They are therefore urging relevant authorities to expedite action to alleviate their sufferings.
They are not paying pensioners. Many of them are dying off. Almost every week, 5 or 6 or 7 pensioners will die.
Pension matters will continue to be an issue for discussion until all relevant authorities take decisive steps to make it a first-line charge. In Enugu, Beauty Robame, NTA News.
Thank you, Beauty. Now to River State. The issue of payment of pension to both state and federal retirees in River State has remained a source of concern to many, given the harrowing experiences pensioners go through to get their stipends, which some have not received in the past 52 months. For those under the contributory pension scheme, the feeling is that their long years in service have been wasted. Kingsley Amajere has the report. All right, that report is not yet ready, so let's go to Sokoto. From Lokoja, Kogi State, comes a report that pensioners have made passionate appeal to the federal government to harmonize their monthly stipends to ameliorate the condition in view of the prevailing economic situation in the country. Solomon Ayedehin reports.
Even though statistics of pensioners could not be made available to NTA News, however, one issue agitating the retirees in the state is irregular payment of pension. In spite of screening embarked upon by government to reform the civil service and pension, many of the retirees complained of several months without pay.
Pension is not regular at all. A lot of suffering, a lot of hardship.
As at December last year, I was paid 4 months out of the 2 years arrears.
There is a case of a director in the state civil service who retired on level 16 in 2005 and earns 36,000 naira monthly, as against a similar director who earns 170,000 naira presently as a senior citizen.
That is why there is need for the harmonization, which has not been done.
Reacting to the issue, the special advisor to Kogi State Governor on civil service, labor and pension matters, Halimotu Amadu, says the state government has paid all the pensioners in the state except those who have issues to settle with it.
The pensioners have started taking their money through bank. The ones we are owing now are those that are owing us. Some were taking salary at the same time taking pension. Government now asks them to refund back the money before taking their own pension.
However, she says plans are in the pipeline to introduce the pension contributing scheme to alleviate the plight of workers. In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehin for Weekend File.
Well, thank you, Solomon. Our correspondents have critically analyzed the pension matters in Nigeria. But we have the live interview, which is next. So, of course, we're going to talk to those who are regulating the procedure. You're still watching Weekend File, and we'll be back in a moment.
This is your playground. Get free 200,000 naira preloaded on the new Jumbo SIM to talk, chat, and browse as you like. This includes free data for Facebook, WhatsApp, and Twitter on every recharge. Now, every SIM is a Jumbo SIM. Existing customers dial *224# to join. The largest data network. Glow, grandmasters of data.
Cold and flu can spread through the contact of hands. And in such situations, I can't risk falling ill. So I recommend Dettol, as it protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs. That's why I want to be Dettol sure. Dettol, be 100.
during a successful meeting between the organizers of the first National Grassroots Sports Festival, Sports for All, with stakeholders who requested for shift in date and subsequent presentation at the National Council on Sports meeting, the first National Grassroots Sports Festival, Sports for All, has been shifted to 19th to 29th of April 2018. Venue, National Stadium, Abuja, packages A and B. This is an opportunity for state government, public and private organizations, companies and individuals to promote their achievements and brand through the festival. For broadcast sponsorship, contact Angelo Peter I. Elosia, Chairman and Chief Coordinator, or Nick Oyinsi. Organizers, Grassroots International Sports Academy and LOP Worldwide Television. Endorsed by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. Broadcast partner, NTA, the largest television network in Africa.
Now it's time for Dr. Farouk Aminu, Head Research and Strategy Management, National Pension Commission, to add value to what we are addressing on this edition of Weekend File. So we thank you, Dr. Aminu, for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much, Korea.
Now, what has payment of pension, why has payment of pension become so Herculean that it cannot be handled for several years?
Now, when you look at where we're coming from, Korean, we had a scheme that was totally dependent on government to provide. And as we have seen from the reports, people are discussing about, harmonizations and so on. Pensions by law have to be increased, put up after every 5 years or whenever there is salary increase. So liability keeps going up. And then you get people complaining about harmonization. Somebody retired in, say, 2005 as a director. His pension definitely will be based on his salary because pensions are based on final salary. So his pension was based on his salary as director in 2005. A director retiring today, his pension is going to be based on his salary of today. And there is huge disparity between these salaries. So to harmonize is an additional liability. Now, records keeping has been one of the major challenges in this country. We are very poor at keeping records. So you get some people, due to this problem, adding like ghost pensioners, or sometimes removing pensioners' names from the list. Some people, just capitalize on that just to make money. This is actually one of the major reasons of the reform in 2004. For example, people will be given money to pay pension. Instead of paying pension, people will go and just fix those monies with banks. And they keep on, feeding from the returns from those banks.
As a regulatory body, what have you done about it? Because, in the last couple of years, remember there was this indictment of some pension officials who owned houses here and there, even abroad. And we didn't get to know what happened. So now you talked about funds, paucity of funds. Then perhaps there are funds, but not properly managed.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's why I was trying to explain the reason for the reform in 2004. Because the liability was huge. As at 2004, we had a cutoff from the old scheme to the new scheme. The liability on government was almost 2 trillion naira. Now made up of all sorts of things, and largely because we didn't have very clear records. Now, when the contributory pension scheme came, that's when National Pension Commission also came into being as the regulator in this industry. So we inherited two things. Number one, what we just discussed, the problem we discussed about the defined benefit scheme, and the task of implementing the reforms. That means establishing a contributory pension scheme, establishing the structures, and then regulating both the defined benefit and the contributory pension scheme. So the law saw the need to have an agency of government that would coordinate the activities under the defined benefit scheme. And that's what gave rise to PITAD. The law established PITAD as established National Pension Commission, but made National Pension Commission the sole regulator and supervisor of all pension matters in the country. So when we came, our first and foremost duty was to sanitize the records that I mentioned in PITAD, that in fact establish PITAD itself, and then make sure that the records in PITAD are the records that we could work on. Now also trying to establish the contributory pension scheme for both the public and the private sectors. In the private sector, that's one other big problem due to the poor record keeping. You cannot go to any agency today in Nigeria to obtain full details of all private employees in the country. So that made compliance, enforcing compliance, a big problem. And that's one of the issues that are making it difficult, particularly in that sector as well.
Now, so let me stop you here and ask you some other question. Would you say that the contributory system is working or not working?
I believe the contributory pension scheme is working in the country.
Now, if you do believe that, now what is the role of a pension fund administrators or pension fund
custodians?
Yeah, custodians, yes.
Okay. Now, this is one innovation that we did. Those people who came up with the system in Nigeria, you know, we borrowed this scheme from Chile. In Chile, there are pension fund administrators, but there are no pension fund custodians. And in Chile, also, only employee contributes. Employer does not contribute a dime into the retirement savings account. But when it came to Nigeria, we made these innovations. Separate the administration from the custody of the pension assets. So pension fund administrators, what they do, they open accounts for you just like go and open a bank account. They then manage this, whatever content is in the retirement savings account, your contributions, and what, you know, as the assets grow, they continue to manage. They take investment decisions, and when it is time to pay benefits, they also take decisions to pay the benefits. But execution of these investment decisions are left for the PFCs, the custodians, to do. Also, payment, payment of the retirement benefits is left for the PFCs to do as well. But foremost and most important is that they keep the assets, total pension assets. They are not with the administrators. Administrator does not see
any mechanism to check, to do background check on the companies that are using for this administration.
Yes. Now, what we did as a beginning, coincidentally, I was one of the pioneer staff in the National Pension Commission that established it and is also registered, licensed the pension fund administrators and custodians. We made sure that only people of impeccable character in this country are involved in this business. What we did was we made sure that we got reports from the police, from all security agencies in the country, from also financial regulators in the country, so that none of these individuals has any questionable character or is involved with any failed financial institution before.
Okay, let's pause for now. I want you to see this report, and that's coming from Rivers State. The issue of payment of pension to both state and federal retirees in Rivers State has remained a source of concern to many, given the harrowing experiences pensioners go through to get their stipends, which some have not received in the past 2 years. Let's get that report.
Retirees in Rivers State, like their counterparts in the country, do not live like elder statesmen and women, unlike their counterparts in advanced countries. Arrears of pension and non-payment at all, to some, are a key concern, even after going through the rigors of biometric verification exercises. Worst hit are those who retired between 2012 and 2015, numbering about 2,050 persons.
From 2012, and the backlog of that has continued until 2015. And so since then, we've not been paid until they paroled us in November 2017. As for this month, we've not received anything. So it's accounted for about 52 months. For 52 months, we have not been paid.
During the time of Amechi, as they pay us, after they don't pay workers, they start to pay the pensioner, both graduates and the others. But now, it's not like that again.
Payments are usually done through the bank accounts of beneficiaries after the verification exercises, but oftentimes they wait for months.
Since 2014 to this time, I've only paid 3 months consolidated arrears of pension.
For some of those who retired in the federal civil service under the contributory pension scheme, their fate lies in the hands of the pension fund administrators.
Pensioners under the contributory pension scheme, as I see it now, they are like orphans. They have served the nation and they've been pushed away.
The enforcement of extant laws with stiff penalties to those who misuse pension funds, some suggest, would help address the challenges. When NTA News visited the office of the Permanent Secretary Pensions in the River State Civil Service, he declined comment. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Now, the man declined comment. So this is part of the problems, part of the issues that the Nigerians have been raising over the years, being open and let the people get information. Now, let me ask you this. What effort is a pension commission is making to ensure that people get their first lump sum paid without having to wait for too long a time?
Okay. I'll explain that there are categories of pensioners. Number one, those who work in the private sector or who worked in self-funding public institutions. Those, they don't have any problem because their monies are always available in their retirement savings accounts and you don't you don't hear any complaints from them. But when you come to those who work in treasury-funded, public institutions, then there are problems there. Yeah, we agreed that, due to the lack of payment on time of the accrued benefits, under the contributory pension scheme, there are 2 components to the assets that would be used, to pay the pensions. First is the contribution that every one of us today receive, alas on. And then the accrued benefits for services rendered before and up to June 2004. Now that money, because it was money that was earned under the old pension scheme, people are not eligible to have them until when they retire. So that's why the payment of this money come only on a monthly basis, from provisions by the Treasury. Now in 2014, we paid pension, this accrued benefits in January. But from February 2014, we started having problems because what money was appropriated was less than 50% of what was required to pay pension, to pay this accrued rights on a monthly basis. So we had to wait for, it's also the federal government was not paying. Federal government has been paying, and up to date they have been paying. Okay, but the amounts being appropriated to pay these accrued benefits is never enough. So from February 2014, we started having this low appropriated amount. So we could not pay in a month until we wait for an appropriation of another month. So by the end of December 2014, we're only able to pay pensions, this accrued rights, up to June.
Now, is that problem affecting the payment of people who left service in March 2017?
Yes.
Who have not received any dime?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Now, how can this be corrected?
Okay. Now, let me explain this. As I said, federal government has been paying. It's only the amount was not good enough. So we have been able to pay up to March. I think within the last 1 week, we paid up to March 2017. But we received this appropriation up to December 2017. So you could see we're just waiting for monies for 2018 now to continue paying pensions from April 2018 moving forward. Now, one thing that happened last year, the federal government did something, set up an interministerial committee chaired by the Honorable Minister of Finance, including Pencom, Petard, who are all members of that committee, to come up with an estimated liability on pension for the federal government, which we did. We concluded that, and that was submitted to federal government. And if you could remember some times back, federal government got Federal Executive Council to approve about 2.73 trillion to do some expenditure, which we learned about 740 billion
Would
is
that
going
be
to
able
be
to correct the anomaly? Would that
definitely
be able to address the problem?
Yeah, if we get that money, what it will do it's not only paying off all the pension liabilities due, that means from April 2017 to date, but it will also do one thing. You know, under Section 173, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution, pensions are supposed to be reviewed after every 5 years or whenever there is a salary review. In 2007, that's a 15% increase in salaries and in pensions as well. In 2010, there was an increase, salary increase of about 54%, and then pension increase of 33%, which was approved in November 2014. Those a lot of pensioners under the defined benefits, those have been coordinated by PETAD, have had this money is paid. Not everybody.
Yes.
Now, those on contributory pension scheme, they haven't been paid. Now, what part of the monies that federal government was advised will also contributory?
Yes. Dr. Muni, you have actually told us a very good storyline here, which is interesting in terms of the structure or the program that you are administering from a pension commission. But from the reports that we saw, you could see that many people are suffering, especially those in the states. Does your regulatory assignment, cover the states? That's our last question.
Okay. In 2008, remember the 2004 Act did not cover the state. It didn't make contributory pension scheme mandatory for states. But in 2008, there was a unanimous decision at the Council of State meeting that all states should implement the contributory pension scheme. Some states started, particularly, Lagos State.
But not all the states have.
So I'm coming.
We don't have time now.
Okay, I was trying to say that the 2014 Act made it mandatory for states.
For states now.
So far, 4 states plus FCT are implementing.
Let's hope that other states will join. Thank you so much. For sharing your experience on this job. You have an idea of what we're talking about being a staff of a pension. But please, let's make sure that these aging Nigerians are properly taken care of.
Definitely,
right.
That's our objective.
Thank you so much for your
thank
time.
you.
We have been talking to Dr. Farouk Aminu, Head Research and Strategy Management, National Pension Commission. Thank you. You're still on Weekend File, and we'll be back very shortly.
Slavery is an evil practice abolished all over the world over 200 years ago. But today, human traffickers are selling human beings as slaves in Africa. It is your responsibility to make sure that you and the people you know do not fall into slavery. Don't believe fake promises of jobs abroad.
People went to say Libya, Italy no use you when they carry me on top water. 4 days now they lock me for inside house, no food, no water. I nearly die. Now God, when me heaven and earth, now save me. If you get 1 naira for Nigeria, you get junior 1, you say you no get papa, you no get mama, now make you come out. I beg go they do farm work. You better pass person when enter road.
Don't accept to travel to Europe through the Sahara Desert. You may be walking into slavery. Don't be a slave.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
We now take sports.
The Nigerian Television Authority is set to beam live